Yesterday, Mr. Kisie Jabin held a press conference and declared Ken Ofori Atta, the former Minister of Finance, a fugitive from justice. It is baffling that a special prosecutor, a lawyer, and a law lecturer could make such basic mistake in labeling a person of interest who has not been charged and remains in contact through his lawyers as a wanted individual or a fugitive. Isn't that odd? A respected legal personality, a former director of the Ghana Law School, Mr. Ansa Asari, says that this act is not only barbaric, but uncouth, uncivilized, and unethical. Ladies and gentlemen, Ken Ofori Atta is not evading accountability, as the OSP claimed. On January 2nd, 2025, he wrote a letter to the then Chief of Staff, Madame Frima Oseo Pare, that he was traveling to the United States for a follow-up medical visit. He included his current and reliable contact information at the end of the letter. On January 22nd, 2025, Mr. Ofori Atta again wrote to the new Chief of Staff, Mr. Julius Debra, to inform him that he was overseas for a medical examination. He concluded his letter with the following: please do not hesitate to reach out if there is any information you will need in the interest of the state regarding the fact that I've been or I've held some formal positions in government. Mr. Ofori Atta also provided reliable email addresses for any required communication. He also attached his letter to the former Chief of Staff for Mr. Debra's reference. 2 days after he wrote this letter to the Chief of Staff, the Special Prosecutor sent a letter, and this was January 24th, 2025, sent a letter to Mr. Ofori Atta's residence regarding a directive to appear at the office of the Special Prosecutor on Monday, February 10th, 2025. That was the date for him to appear, to discuss suspected corruption and corruption-related offenses. The letter also enumerated 4 matters being investigated by the OSP. Then on January 31st, Mr. Ofori Atta responded to the Special Prosecutor's letter through his lawyer, stating that our client notified the former Chief of Staff in earlier January and more recently informed the current Chief of Staff about his trip outside the country for medical reasons. Our client is currently undergoing medical observation and test, which will lead to a decision about his treatment. After that, he will have a clearer idea of when to proceed to Ghana. Therefore, we respectfully wish to inform you that we will notify you of his arrival to the country so that you can reschedule your invitation to him for purposes stated in the heading of your reference letter. Then on 5th February 2025, the Special Prosecutor responded to Mr. Ofori Atta's lawyer, stating that the OSP declines your request to be away from the jurisdiction indefinitely on medical grounds based solely on your statement. You are required to indicate by the close of business on Monday, February 10, 2025, a reasonable date for your return to the jurisdiction and attendance to the OSP. If you fail to do so, the OSP will take all necessary legal steps to secure your return to the jurisdiction and your attendance to the OSP in our discretion. Let me make this reference quickly. You recall that there was also another matter the OSP was investigating. The famous Airbus, the intermediary 1, intermediary 2 to 5 issue. Mr. Kiseja being told us in August last year that he traveled all the way to UK to interview Sam Mahama, John Mahama's brother, intermediary 5. So what stopped him from doing same to the former minister? This is somebody who is saying that I'm seeking medical attention. The health facility wrote a letter to the OSP. It was signed, dated, and it was an authentic letter. So if you think that you need a person badly for your investigation, just as you travel to UK to interview Sam Mahama, what then stopped you from doing same to former finance minister? What is so urgent that you cannot wait? What is so urgent that if you could have waited 2 years before he interviewed Sam Mahama in the famous Airbus issue, then why this haste? And even if you do the calculations, we are talking about just within the space of 2 weeks. So you request the presence of somebody. The person says that I'm out of the jurisdiction for medical attention. You have received letters from his lawyers. You have received letters from the hospital signed by a medical doctor. And all of these correspondence is just within 2 weeks. Then, quickly, you label the person as a fugitive. Very, very bizarre situation. On February 7th, 2025, in a reply to the Special Prosecutor's letter of February 5th, Mr. Ofori's lawyer stated, "Please find the attached document indicating that our client is receiving attention at the Mayo Clinic in the US. It outlines his appointment and suggests a date after March when our client may be able to return to Ghana. A date after March. March is just next month." The letter from Mayo Hospital stated that Mr. Ofori was undergoing further testing and management, including possible surgical intervention in March 2025. The hospital's letter provided reliable contact, a doctor's name, the department name, a phone number, a reliable email address. It was also stamped Mayo Clinic authentic document with a signature and a date. Nonetheless, the correspondence between the OSP and the lawyers on February 11th, 2025, 12 men, including 1 police officer, 4 military personnel, and 7 unidentified individuals in plain clothes raided Mr. Ken Ofori's home. Video footage of the raid reveals that one Richard Dapa, a third accused in the famous ambulance trial case, accompanied the men into the residence of Mr. Ofori, all armed to the teeth. Ladies and gentlemen, the OSP is being unreasonable considering the ongoing communication between Ken Ofori and the OSP office concerning his health. Additionally, the treatment letter from the Mayo Clinic should demonstrate that he is indeed receiving care. My little knowledge in law reveals that If somebody is declared a fugitive, it means that person cannot be reached, cannot be traced. You don't even know where the person is. And at least you give yourself a reasonable time after a search. In any case, the OSP lacked that power to declare anybody wanted. It is only the court that can do so. If the special prosecutor's letter from January 24th had prompted Mr. Ofori to leave Ghana, the OSP might be justified in harboring suspicion. However, Mr. Ofori was already out of the country well before OSPs contacted him. He traveled on the 2nd of January, and your letter to him came in on the 24th of January. So how could the man be labeled as a fugitive when he was already in the country? Indeed, he was not even the finance minister about 8 months before the election. And you, Mr. Kise Jabe, you were the special prosecutor. And he was in the country throughout. For 8 months to the election, you could not invite the person. The person steps out of the country for medical attention. And it is not as if you wrote to the person before he traveled. Your letter came 2 weeks after he had traveled, and yet you unreasonably labeled this person as a fugitive. Very, very, very